Hi everyone, this is Dr. Jendrula Devi, Associate Professor from the Department of Information Science and Engineering. This is the third lecture on computational intelligence. This lecture is all about introduction to neural networks and fuzzy logic. Here we will be seeing about the introduction to neural networks, which covers perceptron, weights in perceptron, multi-layer perceptron, forward propagation, backward propagation. And in case of introduction to fuzzy logic, we will be seeing about fuzzy logic, uncertainty and imprecision, utility of fuzzy systems, limitations of fuzzy systems, uncertainty and information. Now let us move on to introduction to neural network. What we are seeing is about the relation between the neural network, deep learning, machine learning and artificial intelligence. When we see here, we see that our neural network is a subset of the deep learning, and deep learning is a subset of the machine learning, and this machine learning is a subset of the artificial intelligence. So in this way they are related with each other, and what we can say is that this artificial intelligence is an engineering of making intelligence machines and program, where artificially we are making the system to think. And when we say it is machine learning, it has the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So that is the difference between AI and ML. When we say that it is deep neural network or deep learning, learning is based on deep neural network. So where the neural network comes into picture. Now let us understand the difference between the machine learning and deep learning. When we say it is a machine learning model, if we want to identify an image like something like a car, the input will be given to the model. The model will be extracting the features of the car, and that will be classified, and finally the output will be obtained. So whenever a car image is given to the model, so the features which is already extracted and understood by the model will make or identify that whether it is a car or not. In case of machine learning, we have two different things. One is your feature extraction and classification. And in case of deep learning, there is no need of these two as separate stages. Instead, we have a single model which is about doing the feature extraction and classification together. The deep learning model uses the neural network concept. Now, let us understand the previous thing what we have seen about the artificial neural network, which has an input layer and which have some hidden layers and which has the output layer. Each and every node of the artificial neural network is called as the neurons. And we know that these neurons work on the basis of your brain neurons. That's why it is related with the brain cells. So the deep learning, which is a particular kind of machine learning that is inspired by the functionality of our brain cells called neurons, which leads to the concept of the artificial neural network. And now let us understand the neural network with the help of an example. Here what we are seeing is an example where we are having the salary structure of different employees or individuals. So the person may have the salaries of 10,000, 30,000, 45,000, and different salary structure may be there for individual persons on a monthly basis. And in this example, we will be looking into that based on the salary, whether the person can be sanctioned with loan or not. Suppose if a person wants to get a loan from the bank, the person has to give the salary details to the bank, and then in the model it will be checking the threshold value, whether the particular threshold is met out by the individual, so that if it is met, the bank will be sanctioning loan. This is way only the bank will be giving the loan to a particular person. And this is similar to the basic neuron structure, where the brain neuron structure will be having like a dendrites. The dendrites will be getting all the inputs, and it will be using the axon for passing the input signal to the axon terminals. So this axon terminal will normally connected with the other neurons. In this way, the same way we are having an input. For example, here it's a salary, and the model will be identifying the threshold value based on the salary input, and then we will be getting the output as true or false. So this is where we will be using only the binary input and the binary output. We have the task for the models, which is the first one is the salary, and the second thing is the salary threshold, which we are fixing here as 70,000, and we will be getting the output as 1 if the condition is true and the output is 0 if the condition is false. So for sanctioning a loan, all these tasks has to be performed by the model. So here what we are taking is the inputs of the different persons in the family. One is the applicant salary, the second one is the father's salary, and the husband or wife's salary. So whenever a loan is applied, normally an applicant and co-applicant will be there for applying the loan. So in this case, we are taking 3 different individuals' salary for the input. So the threshold what we are fixing here as the 70,000, and this neuron will be checking the threshold value, taking the summation of these salary inputs of the applicants. And finally, the output is given if the threshold is met by summing up the applicant salary, father salary, and husband and wife salary. And the total income is added like X1, X2 and X3. And here what we got is that the total income is greater than threshold, means that the output would be true, otherwise it will be false. And if suppose we are having this threshold value after summing all these X1 and X2 and X3, if threshold is moved on the left hand side, it will be becoming like minus threshold, and we are checking the greater than 0 with the addition of these 3 inputs and the threshold value. Now this different variation of the equation, we can say it as a bias value, and this bias value is nothing but the negative threshold here. If we take up the input summation and the negative threshold as the bias value here, and if this is put together, it should be greater than 0. Otherwise, the loan cannot be sanctioned. And this bias value is true, means that the neuron will fire. So this event is called as the firing of the neuron when the input becomes true. And if the input is not true, which is less than or equal to 0, the output will be like 0. Now let us even in detail understand this using a step function. So whatever here we are done, by adding the summation of the 3 inputs and the bias value, we are assigning it to a variable called as Z. And this Z function is mentioned in case of your step function. So the step function is a normal function which can be mentioned in the neuron structure, and it will be seeing that whether the output could be 1 or 0. So whatever input we are providing to the neuron structure, it will give only 2 possible outputs based on the step function. So the step function, if it is greater than 0, it will give 1, or if it is less than or equal to 0, it will be giving 0. So where the activation function is called as the step function. So these activation functions, when applied with the neuron structure, then we say that it is called as the perceptron. So we may have various number of other functions also in case of applying the neuron structure. Here we have applied your step function. Objects that do calculations are called as perceptrons. They adjust themselves to minimize the loss function until the model is very accurate. And if we take an example like handwriting analysis, always we expect that the analysis should give 99% of accuracy at least. In this case of handwriting analysis or something like face recognition, the brain quickly makes some decisions based on the input. For example, in facial recognition, the brain will identify whether it is female or male, it is black or white, is it old or young, or is there a scar, and other features also. So in this way, it will identify all these things. And when we come to perceptron, we have understood that we have different inputs and we get one output, and it will be saying as binary inputs and binary output. In this case, whatever number of inputs we are having, we will be having only one output. And it will be using an weighted sum and a threshold. Then it will decide the outcome based on the yes or no value. Now let us see the different version of the perceptron having weights. So this is called as the weights, which is assigned as 1 for each of the input value. So here we are going to consider that the applicant salary, father salary, husband and wife salary as an equal weight. So that means all the applicants should satisfy the condition. So if only they have equal weights, here they will be approved with the loan when it meet out the threshold or greater than the threshold value. So that let us move on giving some values for these inputs, and the bias value which is fixed as minus 70,000, and we are using the step function, as we know that step function is the addition of the three inputs and the bias value. Now let us assign the values for the applicant salary, father salary and the husband and wife salary. It is fixed as 12,000, 15,000 and 5,000 respectively. Now we will multiply each of the input with a particular weight. So x1 is 12,000 and the weight is 1. So we will be getting 12,000. And x2 is nothing but 15,000 into the weight value. The weight value is 1. So it is 15,000. Next we take up the x value or x3 as input value as 5,000 and multiplied it with the weight, which is 5,000. So what we will be getting is that x1, x2 and x3 with the bias. So that 12,000, 15,000 and 5,000 in plus the minus 70,000. So what we will be getting is minus 48,000, which is obviously less than 0. So the step function output is 0. So the loan cannot be approved for the applicant. Let us move on to the other example where we are changing the weight value. So we can change this weight value for the neuron structure. So this weight value is changed by considering the applicant salary with higher weight and then the life partner salary or the spouse salary as the next highest weight and the parent salary as 1. So in this case the weight is getting changed, giving priority to the person who is applying and the life partner salary. Here what we have changed is the weight, not the input value. So once you change the weight, the previous example is changing or giving a different values based on the weights. Here the input is 12,000 into the weight 4 will give 48,000. And the second input, which is x2, 10,000 into 1, it is 10,000. And the third input, which is x3, which is 5,000, and the new weight is 3, so it will give 15,000. And the bias value is added together, so that what we are getting is that 3,000. So it is greater than 0. So the step function, what it will give is equal to 1. So that means the loan may be approved to the person. Now let us see another version of the example by changing the salary structure. So the applicant who is important, and here what we are doing is that we are minimizing the salary for the applicant and increasing salary for the father. So let us see that whether loan could be approved for this example or not. Here what we are getting is that 2,000 into 4 we will be getting 8,000 for x1 and 10,000 into 1 for the father and 5,000 into 3 for the husband-wife salary. So it is 15,000 and we are adding the bias. So what we are getting is that minus 45,000. When we have an higher weight for the applicant and the salary structure is minimum, there comes a thing that it cannot be sanctioned because the step function will be 0. So loan cannot be sanctioned at this point. The mathematical steps for the problem is we have sum of inputs which is x plus x1 into w1 plus x2 into w2 plus x3 into w3, and we are adding the bias and assigning it to the z variable, and this z variable is called as the step function and it is given as output or taken as output y. So the output is dependent upon the step function z. And here the weight value and the bias value can be changed arbitrarily. So the neural network or the neuron structure will learn based on the weight value and the bias value whenever we are changing the value of these two. And what now we have seen is about the step function, where it will give only the output of 0 and 1. And now we see a different version of the function, which is called as a sigmoid function. As we said earlier, this neuron may be working on different function, and here we are seeing today is about the step function and the sigmoid function. So the sigmoid function is having the values from -infinity to +infinity, and it is a set of continuous values, so that the values may be available in between this 0 and 1. When we say that it is step function, the values will be 0 and 1 as output. So that in case of step function, we have only two output, one is 0 and 1. And in case of sigmoid function, it may be between -infinity to +infinity. So it may be even 0.5, 0.9, etc. And what we have seen till now is a structure where we are having a single neuron. So this is called as a single layer perceptron. And when we have multiple layers, then we can say that it is a multi-layer perceptron. Here what we are seeing is a structure of the multi-layer perceptron. We have two neurons here. In the previous one we have a single neuron, and in a multi-layer perceptron we have two neurons. And these two neurons are getting the inputs from x1, x2 and x3. And we have two different bias values here. So the bias B1 is for the neuron 1 and the bias B2 is for the neuron 2. And these neurons will be having the different weight values along with the input values. So in the first neuron we have the weight value as 311, and we have a different weight for the neuron 2, which is 122. And whenever this worked out along with the sigmoid function, what we are saying is that it is an F1 and F2, which is nothing but the output of your neuron 1 as F1 and output of neuron 2 as F2. Then what will be the output? After this, receiving the output of the two neurons, we have to go for the other neuron, which will be getting the input from neuron 1 and neuron 2, which we say as the layer 2. So this layer 2 is getting the input from F1 and F2 and with weights also. So it will be having different weights for F1 and F2. And after that it will be calculating the output. So this is called as the output layer. And this is called as the hidden layer, where we are performing the classification. And this is called as the input layer. So in this way the multiple perceptron will work. Now we are seeing is what is about number of hidden layers. So whenever we want to increase the features, what we can do is that we can go for the number of hidden layers, so that the features can be extracted from one layer and more number of features can be classified by using more number of hidden layers, so that the hidden layer may be n numbers, and we will be getting the precise output using the artificial neuron structure. And now let us understand about the forward propagation. In case of forward propagation, we are taking the same example, and we have here applicant salary x1, father salary x2 and husband wife salary x3. And here what we are doing is that we are taking the bias values and the input values for the same. And if we work out with the first neuron, we will be having the input x1, x2 and x3 along with the weight 311. And the bias value will be given here, will work separately. And if the first neuron is working, we are here using a different output variable. Previously we have used only one variable z. Here we are using another variable with a different version of z11, which means that it is about the first neuron. And we are taking x1 into weight 1 plus x2 into weight 2 plus x3 into weight 3 plus the bias 1. And for the second neuron, what we are taking is that Z12, means that it is the output of the step function this of the second neuron, where it is taking x1 into W4 plus x2 into W5 plus x3 into W6 plus B2, that is BIOS 2. Once this is done, what we are getting is that the output of the hidden layers. So here the output of the hidden layers is about the neuron 1 and neuron 2. So here what we are mentioning is about H11 and H12. So output of first neuron is mentioned as H11 and output of second neuron is mentioned as H12, and here also we are having different weights for this neuron. So this neuron which is working on the BIOS B3 is getting the outputs of neuron 1 and neuron 2 and applying different weights 2 and 3. Once this is done only, we are getting the final output. So the final output here mentioned with a different step function variable is it, which is Z21. So this Z21 is calculated with H11 into W7 and H12 into W8. So the final output is mentioned as O. So this O is nothing but the output of the sigmoid value of your Z21. So this is called as the firing of the neuron. And when it is true, what we will be having is that we will be having the loan is approved. In this case, let us take an example, and we have seen that in case of your sigmoid value, we have different values from minus infinity to plus infinity. So, and these values are called as the probabilities. If suppose, for the example what we are taking, if we get the answer something like 0.02, and here in this case the loan could not be approved, because here it will give only 1 or 0. It is greater than or it is less than or equal to. So what we say here, even if it is 0.02 and if it cannot approve the loan, we can say that it is an error. So in case that if there are errors based on the input value what we are giving, and we have assigned here is different weights considering the different weights for the applicant salary, father salary and husband and wife salary. With this BIOS value, we are trying to get the precise value salary output, and even then we could not able to approve the loan, means that here there is some error. So this error has to be rectified. So for rectifying this error, where we can make changes in the neural network has to be understood. For making this, first let us understand that if the output is either 1 or 0, we cannot make changes in the output. And also this output or the sigmoid value of Z21 is 0.02. This is exactly based on the input values and the BIOS inputs. So this cannot be changed directly. So the next thing is that we have the input. These inputs are fixed for the applicants. We cannot change the salary, which is a fixed one. And the last thing what we could understand is that the BIOS values or the internal neuron structure, where it is having the hidden layers which works on the weights and the BIOS value. This can be changed, but the activation function cannot be changed at all, because during the training of the model, the activation function once fixed cannot be changed. So the weights which is learned or the BIOS value which is learned in the model can be changed. So by changing here, we can go for even more precise errors in finding out how much difference it is there. So with this structure, we can understand that where we are making change by going back on to changing the weight and BIOS value, we say it as the backward propagation. So that's all about the understanding of the neural network. Now let us go on to the second portion of Introduction to Fuzzy Logic. Fuzzy logic is an approach to computing based on degrees of truth, rather than the usual true or false or Boolean logic. It is a technique for representing and manipulating uncertain information. It also allows for the inclusion of vague human assessments in computing problems. And what we are seeing is an difference between the precision and significance. When we say that it is a human, the human want to give an information to other person where a weight is going to fall on the person. So in this case, if it is a precision, we have to say that a 5500 kg mass is approaching your head at 45.3 meter per second. So here this is not necessary. So instead of precision, significance is enough. So when we say that it is significance, a fuzzy logic can immediately give that look out, something is going to fall on you. So in this way only the fuzzy logic will be working. And this fuzzy is a convenient way to map an input space to an output space. For example, here if suppose a servant has to be, or a waiter in a restaurant has to be given tips, a fuzzy can say that how much tips can be given based on the good service of the waiter. And the second example is about when we want to fix the temperature for the hot water. What we can do is that based on the hot water need or how much hot water the person needs, the fuzzy can fix the hot water for the person. And the third example is that the fuzzy logic can focus the lens for the person for taking up a photograph. So based on the distance and the object, the fuzzy can fix the lens for the individual. And the next example is how fast the car is going on and how hard the motor is working. A fuzzy logic system can shift gears for you. So this is possible only with the fuzzy logic. And now let us go on understanding the uncertainty and imprecision. So the ideal model of reasoning is exact reasoning. Either if it is human or the computer, what we expect is that it has to give an exact reasoning for the object or the problem. And in real world, reasonings are made with information that are uncertain and imprecise. So with these only the people or the computer is finding the reason. So sometimes we have uncertain and imprecise information. So this uncertainty is due to the lack of knowledge or insufficient information, and also about the vagueness where there is no specificity. When we say that it is uncertainty, it lies in between the bad and good. So that means that the degree of accuracy may be good, then we can say that it is a good observance. And if the degree of accuracy is less, then we can say that it is a bad observance. If something is falling in between these good and bad observance or accuracy, we can say that it is an uncertainty condition. Now let us see the types of uncertainty, which includes randomness, incompleteness, ambiguity, imprecision, and fuzziness. When we say that it is randomness, it is nothing but the probability which is going to define the randomness. And the randomness doesn't equal to uncertainty. And the knowledge about relative frequency of each event in some domain is called as the randomness. And the lack of knowledge which event will be occurred in the next time belongs to the randomness. When we say that it is incompleteness, the lack of knowledge or insufficient data when we are working on a particular problem is called as incompleteness. The next is about the ambiguity. When we say it is ambiguity, uncertainty due to lack of evidence is called as ambiguity. And it is associated with the difficulty of making sharp or precise distinctions in the world. For example, the criminal is left-handed or not, comes the ambiguity problem over here. When we say it is imprecision, ambiguity due to lack of accuracy of observed data is called as imprecision. The example is character recognition. And when we say it is fuzziness, the uncertainty due to vagueness of boundary is called as the fuzziness. Example, when we say it is a beautiful woman or a tall woman, there comes the concept of fuzziness. When we say beautiful, we cannot completely say that it is beautiful or not. Sometimes we say that it is very beautiful, and sometimes we say that okay, it's better or fair. When we say it is a tall man, the man can be completely tall or there may be the height differences. In that way, fuzziness will come into the picture. And now we see the utility of fuzzy system. The fuzzy system are universal approximators, and it is used in two situations. The first situation is involving high complex system where the behaviors are not well understood. And in the second situation, it is approximate but we need fast solution is warranted. In that case, we will be using the fuzzy system. And there are various limitations of fuzzy system. So the fuzzy system will require validation and verification. So for each of the validation and verification of the fuzzy system, so it has to be done, but this is not possible. And extensive testing and expensive hardware is required for this validation and verification. The fuzzy systems cannot learn by itself. Determining fuzzy rules and membership is really hard, and we cannot predict the number of membership in case of the fuzzy systems, and it cannot be used for unsolvable problems. This is an example of the Sudoku where it can be unsolved. This is an unsolved Sudoku problem. So like this, the fuzzy systems cannot be used for unsolvable problems. Not suitable for deep models. So we cannot apply fuzzy for the deep models where we have a shallow search. And it deals with imprecision and vagueness but not uncertainty. When we say that it is uncertainty and information, so the information what we are providing, for example, if you want to bake a oven, the information bake the biscuit in the oven, we have to give the information about what is the temperature and how much time the biscuits has to be baked. All these things has to be sent. If the information is wrong, then we will be getting the uncertainty output. So this is what about the introduction to neural networks and fuzzy logic. Thank you.